Today I'm going to demonstrate how to thread your loom for a tapestry or wall hanging, something that's going to be one-sided. So it's going to be on one side of the loom. So I've got one started here, and you can see I'm weaving with yarn and some paper, and the other side, as you can see, is blank. So this is how you would thread it if you are going to be taking it off the loom and you're just going to be weaving on one side of it. So this is a chipboard loom, and you can buy these or you can make your own with any piece of cardboard. You need an odd number of slots. I just use a piece of cardboard and I would just make little cuts across. You can measure them so they're evenly spaced, but I'm going to use this chipboard loom because it has the nice wide teeth. I think it's easier for you to see how to wrap it in the demonstration. The other tools that I'm using today are a pair of scissors and some cotton warp thread. You can actually look for cotton warp thread, or you can just use a yarn that is thinner than whatever you're going to be weaving. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure. I'm going to warp this. I'm going to measure the amount of string that I need, and I'm going to do that by wrapping it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have 15 spaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this. It only needs to go down one side. So I'm going to count 15 times. So it's going down 1. There's 2 across the back. 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's one that's already measured, and all I'm going to do is unwrap it and get ready to thread the loom. To start, I need to find the end of my thread, and I'm going to put the end of my thread between the first slot, and I'm going to leave it hang about halfway down. I'm going to have to tie a knot with this. Sometimes I'll put a little piece of tape here, but usually I just leave it hang. I'm going to come down through the next slot and go around the tooth, up the front and through the slot and around the tooth, down the front, through the slot and around the tooth, up the front, through the slot and around the tooth. And I'm going to keep going on this pattern, and I'm not going to reuse any of the slots, and make sure I go around each tooth in the slot, around the tooth, in the slot, around the tooth. Notice that I have these guitar strings, these nice long strings in the front. So on the back side, you can see there are no, I call them guitar strings. I've got a little bit extra here, so I'm going to just cut that off. So you can see I've got my 2 tails on the back, and on the front I have these guitar strings. So now it's time to tie it off so that when it comes off the loom, it'll be all one big loop. What we're basically doing is tying this in a big loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double back. Everybody wants to go around this outside tooth and tie it on. The problem is that doesn't connect this thread to the rest of the weaving. So what we have to do is go back around, turn around and go back to that second thread right here. I'm just gonna lower this a little bit so you can see a little better. So I'm gonna lower this, and what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take my thread under the warp thread, and see this big loop that I left out here? So I've gone under the second thread, I'm going back through the loop, and I'm gonna pull. I like to do that 2 times just to be on the safe side, make sure it's good and secure. So I'm going to go under the second thread, turn around and go back through the loop and pull. It's a double knot right there. I'm going to turn my loom over again. I'm going to repeat it so my tail is on the back side. I'm not going around the outside because that won't complete the loop. I'm going to come around the second tooth, under the second thread, and then back through the loop. So take a look at it again. I'm going to go this way. See this loop? I just didn't pull it all the way through. That's how that loop is made. I just went under the thread but didn't pull it all the way through. Now I can turn around and go back. I've got that knot right there. And you can trim this a little bit if it bothers you. Just trim those right off. And your loom is threaded. You can see I've got guitar strings on one side. And then I've got these sort of dotted lines across the back. No guitar strings on the back. If you have guitar strings on the back, your loom, your weaving will not come off the loom when it's finished. So you want to make sure that it's threaded correctly. So we're beginning with the end in mind. So make sure that you have dotted lines on the back, guitar strings on the front, and you can get ready to weave.